Welcome back as we close out this Friday. Former Vice President Kamala Harris says she's decided against a run for California governor because the system is, quote, broken. She joined Stephen Colbert's Late Show last night and while there dodged a question about who is the leader of the Democratic Party and said for now her leadership, as it's detected and detectable, will not be found in elected office.
I always believe that as fragile as our democracy is, our systems would be strong enough to defend our most fundamental principles. And I think right now that they're not as strong as they need to be, and I just don't want to, for now, I don't want to go back in the system.
Joel Payne and Leslie Sanchez join me now. Joel, as you know, political contributor. Leslie, political analyst for CBS News. Great to have you here. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Joel, boy, she sounded very downcast there. And the system, what do you mean? It's California. This California system is broken? What?
I think what she was saying is that the work that needs to be done is more than just one election. Also, I don't think she wants to be governor. I mean, I think it was pretty clear to me. It was pretty clear to me that the only office that maybe she sees herself potentially running for is president again. I think the critique of the system is important, though, because one lesson that Democrats, I think, have learned this cycle is you can't just uphold the existing system, the status quo. I think you have to offer a good faith critique of the system. I think this is her attempt to partially do that. I don't think it'll do all the work, but I imagine that's a little bit of what she's nodding to in that answer there.
Leslie, I want to talk to you about what I described in my open to this show as a nuclear event today. The president firing the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I want to read to you something from a gentleman named Orrin Cass, who is a supporter of the MAGA movement, very social media savvy. The president should not fire someone for delivering bad news, especially when the someone is a public servant and the news is public data, not a way to lead or govern. Also, it just makes people think the news must be really, really bad, and the news isn't bad. He goes on to say there's some underlying strengths, and the president should take the victory and not do things that so alarm the sense of independence in government data and the believability therein. How do you react to this today?
I think that a lot of conservatives have come out, surprisingly, and said, look, this is like shooting the messenger in terms of some of the data. And I saw your own report where you're talking about some of that data is messy. Since COVID, people have had a lot of questions about discrepancy.
Right. Kevin Hassett gave a perfectly legitimate academic argument. But that's not what the president said. The president was like, we need to rethink, let's reevaluate. I'm going to set up a commissioner. So no. This is political, it's manipulation, and I'm firing.
I think there's many people in this country that feel that part of the federal bureaucracy is politicized and it is weaponized, whether or not they believe that's true or not. I think
whether it's true or not, they believe it. I agree with you.
They believe it, but transparency in the system, removing politicals out of this and ensuring the integrity of it. But I do think there's alarms on both sides. I think that's the fair point. You do have conservatives coming out and saying, wait a minute, this kind of erodes the value and the independence of that economic data, which is imperative for the market.
And it's unnecessary. It's a self-inflicted wound, creating all sorts of alarm about something that even his own economic advisors this morning at the White House were saying, we don't love the data.
Major, Donald Trump is developing a reputation for, you're going to watch what I tell you to watch or else. You're going to study what I tell you to study or else. You're going to read the statistics. You're going to follow the weather report I tell you to follow or else. And it suggests maybe a little bit of a lack of confidence in his policies, in his remedies, in the results that he's seeing. And look, that's fine when things are going well. When things aren't going well, I think people are going to lose patience for it.
I think that's a bit of an overreach with my wonderful friend over there. I think there's many people that feel there's so many failures in the bureaucracy, and part of the reason Trump is there is because they want to break a system that they feel has failed them, whether it's failed them on dirty data that they don't have a lot of faith in that integrity of it, and kind of pushing back on a lot of the norms. And he's going to have a long runway, especially getting to 2026, to try to make those changes. But in the long run, it's going to have to be some balance.
Is there any risk for this president in appearing not just petulant, but someone who is jeopardizing things that the markets take cues from and the broader economy takes cues from? Because if it's the Bureau of Labor Statistics, then it can be anybody. And it can be anything at any time, whenever the whim of the president might strike.
But don't you feel it's been that already? I mean,
with him?
Sure. I mean, you could already argue so many different federal agencies have had to feel the wind and kind of the bolstering effect of the president wanting to change a status quo system and find another way. And I think there's a lot There's a lot of patience, especially on the conservative side. People want to see government working better. They're going to give the benefit of the doubt until they don't.
There's changing process, and there's changing how you judge things and what people see and what people are exposed to. And I think that's the part that's troubling about what Donald Trump is doing.
Speaking of process, something's going on in Texas right now, redrawing the congressional map mid-session. We've already established on this program it's legal. Supreme Court's upheld it. Yeah. But it's political. And it's intensely political, and it's going on right now. Joel, evaluate what's going on in Texas and what Texas Democrats can or can't do about it.
Honestly, it links to what we were just talking about. I think Republicans, who, by the way, passed a very unpopular bill on an unpopular agenda, are looking down the barrel of losing seats next year in the House. They say, what's the best way we can make it better? No, not change policy, not try to bring in a bigger coalition. No, let's go and rig the rules. Okay, so Democrats can go do that too. Guess what, Kathy Hochul in New York? Guess what, Gavin Newsom in California, Wes Moore in Maryland? I think it's okay if Republicans want to play politics on this. I think Democrats can outgun them on it.
Leslie, as you well know, Republicans feel very well positioned for this because of the big shifts, maybe even tectonic, in Latino turnout for Trump.
They are tectonic. We've seen that over the last 100 years, a shift that you hadn't seen in terms of turning a blue area purple and ultimately very strong red. Donald Trump did that, but it's not just the Trump effect. It's a larger realignment of the party. And that's the part that Democrats don't want to talk about. And we can't forget, for a generation, Republicans have focused on statewide elections all the way down, legislatures, because of redrawing these maps. That is a priority, has been a priority for longer than a generation, because it works and because they understand voters are very sensitive to these things. They want results, and right now they like Republicans in Texas. It's all well and good
that Republicans are talking about new coalitions, et cetera. It doesn't seem like Republicans like the coalition they got right now, the one that got them elected. It kind of seems like they loathe the coalition that got them elected.
We like the coalition. We like the coalition. Coalition looks a lot more like me, but, you know, hey, thank you. But, yes.
15 seconds. No risks for Republicans waving this redistricting flag in front of Democrats already motivated in the midterms.
They're following the voters. I think in many cases, the voters have realigned. They want something different. They used to be conservative Democrats. They've lost a party that many of them feel, and now they're looking for choices.
You get the last word on this Friday, Leslie Sanchez. Joel Payne, I appreciate it very much.